Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. As always, I got Kabi in the building. Say what's up. Hey, it's back.
What up, though?
It's back. He's got it back, guys. As always, I'm Chris. We're back here. Again, watch us everywhere that you're streaming YouTube. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on Facebook as well. But catch us everywhere that you stream or you use these audio platforms, iTunes, Spotify. Go ahead and leave us a review because, as always, we got some good stuff for you, helping you get to the good life. So let's rock and roll. How you been, champ?
Good. Excellent, bro. Excellent. Beautiful week. You know, yeah, that's all I got for you, man. Great week.
It's good.
Getting a lot of stuff done. Checking off a lot of stuff. We'll have some announcements for you guys here pretty soon. Might have to wait till episode 100. You may not, keep watching to see. But there's a lot happening on this end here. Road to 100. Let's go. Lego.
Road to 100. Hey guys, we've been talking about it a lot. Those of you that have been following the show, following the podcast, that episode 100, we're going to switch some things up. We're going to add some new things. Those of you that have been holding strong, rocking with us since the beginning, know that we're at season 3 now, right? Couple iterations into the show. And when we get to episode 100, which is a big deal, we're going to add even more surprises to the show, even more iterations for us to be able to get you great information. So we're looking forward to a road to 100.
I love it. And for reference, this is episode 83.
Woo! Guys, consistency is key, huh? Consistency is key. 83 episodes.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yep.
Anyways, as we dive in, I was telling Kabi off camera that we're kind of just jumping back on and saying, how are things? And I was like, man, I'm exhausted. And it's not often that I get, tired or fatigued or exhausted. But I had my first company or organization like retreat that was hosted by myself and my wife, right? So we got a chance to take out all of our business partners, our other agents that we have here in the financial space that we're training and allowing them to continue to grow here in the financial services industry. And we all went out. We went up to like the Poconos area and just had some time away. Corporate calls this offsites. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
That's what they call it in corporate. But when you're not and you're just kind of in the entrepreneurial lane and building things yourself, it's still important to take a step away from our environment, right? I just think that that's such an incredible, experience for people. It does a lot when we're in the same environment over and over again. We oftentimes operate in the same mindsets, operate in the same habits, right? I know that's probably some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, but really seeing this retreat and bringing people out of their environment allows for so many breakthroughs, right? And I learned a few things just by my wife and I hosting this, learn the importance of, gathering people together. A lot of the people that are in business with us, we've actually never met them, right? Like they're on Zoom, right? So like we don't often get a chance to be around them or see them. And just getting around someone in proximity, it's incredibly important to build community. And I know that's something you always talk about, Kabi, right? Like just the community aspect of paying attention to your health or going on a journey in health or on this side in entrepreneurship. It's just incredibly important. So that was a huge takeaway that I had this past week. And then just also the ability to kind of cast vision when you have a group of people together that are all headed in the same direction or have a vision or have visions of where they want to go. as a leader, as somebody that runs the organization, just being able to cast vision of like what is possible and where we're headed, I think is incredibly important. And those are some takeaways that I had. I just wanted to share with you guys because, again, the show is very much so about helping us get to the place where we can design the life that we want. Entrepreneurship is one of those ways to get there. You know, you've heard us talk about it a bunch. Even leadership that goes into that, right? Taking ownership, being in a leadership position where you're able to grow and kind of expand your influence. It's important. It helps you direct yourself to the life that you want. So those are some takeaways that I had this week. And that being said, I'm exhausted. We did a lot of stuff. We played golf. We had 10 hours of business meetings, and we had a lot of conversations and ate some crappy food, some food that probably we shouldn't have been eating. Right. So yeah, all in all, it was a great time, but need to get some rest.
Yeah, man. Yeah, sounds like it, man. That sounds fantastic. Until that in-person aspect of things, regardless of how much technology will improve, will always be important in terms of building community, business, health connections. So yeah, sounds like it was super productive for you and your partners, the company as a whole.
Yeah, it was, man. It was, and super excited for what we're building. Right. It's all always nice to build something. Always feels good to build something, especially when you can build it with good people. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
That's
Appreciate
it.
that, man. Thanks for
Absolutely.
bringing us behind the scenes of United Agency,
That's right, man. That's right.
man.
We got to give you more inside look of what it takes, because everybody just hears us talk for an hour on this and don't know that we have actual businesses, right? Like we
Right.
have actual things that we just do this again to give value and to have the conversation.
Now, having gone through this, is this something you plan to do frequently, bring it back, or what does it look like? Or
Yeah,
is
it's
this too tired?
it's going to be an annual thing. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, it comes with the tiredness, comes with the reward of like going all out, right?
Sure.
A lot of planning, a lot of behind the scenes, making sure things work, and we have an assistant and people that help out. But at the end of the day, you want things to be good. So this is definitely something that we're holding every year. It's going to get bigger and bigger and better as we grow. So we're excited. It's a good time. It feels good heading into this like almost fourth quarter of the year, right? Feels good to kind of just get recharged and get a big vision for what's happening. So
What's up, man? That's
yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. And September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. It starts tomorrow. It's a good time. We do a lot of insurance type stuff. So, educating people around insurance, the different types, what it's used for, the misconceptions, the myths, all those types of things. We're going to be doing a lot of content this month for that type of stuff. So, just a good time. It's a good time to be able to educate people.
Don't wait till it's too late.
Hmm. Hmm. That's right. Life insurance is one of those things. Rather be early rather than late, right? If you're too
Yeah,
late,
man.
if you're too late, it's not going to
I'm
work for you.
I'm sure we're going to be diving into that a little bit deeper in September at some point. But what we got on the docket for today?
We're talking about health. We're talking about actually kind of the baby steps, the building blocks, the how do we really start to get started in the process? What should we be focused on? And this is your expertise, man. This is something that you've taken me through, just kind of how to get started in our journey and continue to focus on the right things. So I know that was something that we were going to talk about, and also how this affects the corporate athlete, how this affects the person that is sitting at a desk job, or just at that place in their life where they're working a lot but not paying attention to their health as much, and they want to see some improvements. We can start by having some conversations around baby steps. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, man. And I hope perhaps we start with United Agency, but I hope that, with corporate athletes, we can unite around health as well and include that as points, times when we celebrate, times when we come together, times when we enjoy things. We're going to enjoy things around that elevate us rather than give us a rush of energy and then we let we push that off. How many we've all been part of schools, classes, churches, work situations where there's a party, an event, and it's pizza, it's cake, there's nothing wrong with those things, but I think it builds over a lifetime. It builds a connection with celebration and feel good periods with um, things that rob us of our health.
Mm,
And I think the sooner we can break that connection, the better. Again, not to say it has to be every time, but right now it is every time. Every time we get, I mean, at least for me, right, in
mhm.
gatherings, every time we get into gatherings, every time we get into groups, every time we get into, well, it's like, oh, let's indulge, right? We can indulge in different things that I think people just haven't been introduced to,
Sure.
right? So hopefully this conversation kind of jump starts a lot of that for folks, especially in the workspace.
Yeah.
If you want to perform at your best, if you want to come, out of, if you just want to feel good, right? If you just
That's
want to feel
it.
good,
That's all it's about, right? Like if you just feel like you're not performing or you're not feeling the best that you can,
yeah,
we need to
yeah,
change something.
whatever it is. And I'll talk about kind of how I've broken down this stuff in my, for hopefully into more digestible pieces for folks. And obviously, if you need any help, whether you're a corporation, a group, a business owner, a leader in a group, as to how to make strategic changes within your organization to promote these things, you're for sure going to build a better culture. You're for sure going to have more productive employees, partners, etc. And you're for sure going to produce without burning the candle at both ends, because that's hopefully you burn the candle and can enjoy the candlelight at the same time. Um,
Hey, that's a bar. Let's
Eh,
go.
yeah, that's the goal. So let's set the scene. Hembo provided us with some stats here. Let's set the scene as to what's going on right now.
Mm.
Um, ways pulled from this, Hembo pulled from this article as to ways your office job is literally killing you. Now, I know that sounds doom and gloom, but we will provide solutions at the end of this. So,
That's right.
so watch all the way through. Let me hit you with this, brother. 86% of American workers sit all day.
Wow. I
That
feel
sounds
like
kind
that
of low to me. Corporate.
that's
We're taking
corporate.
corporate athlete.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. I think that could be changing. I think it could be high, right? Like I think what about standing desks?
That's cool. Um, I know people that get standing desk and they stand for a week straight, then they sit back down for the rest of the year.
That's true.
Um, See, I think what's interesting with this is it's not necessarily just the sitting alone, because standing as well is not necessarily the answer.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it's like a car battery, you know. And I don't know much about cars, but I think this is how it works. It's like a car battery. It charges while the car is running. That's the
Mm,
difference. So it's not whether you're standing or sitting, because either way, you're in a stationary position.
mm,
It's that
understood.
we are meant to be moving. We are meant to be in motion. Um, and not just what some of the risk. lead into being stagnant, whether you're standing, sitting, or laying down, right? Leads to higher risk of muscular skeletal disorder,
So
musculoskeletal disorder, obesity, diabetes, cancers, heart disease, more and more. So
so is that like so you're saying like having a job at Walmart and walking around and at a grocery store is better than sitting at a desk?
I'm saying that being in motion is better than being stagnant as a
Got it.
uh, eh, most of the time, right? So where, because this is one of those things where I struggle because it's a much longer conversation. I want to put it in a little thin for you, but it's much longer conversation. However, let's take sitting for example. Let's say what is happening, and we're sitting. First and foremost, most people aren't sitting correctly,
Right.
right? Like I'm doing right now. I'm all like low in my chair. I'm slouched. My belly is all out. My low back is in a
Mhm.
C shape instead of the nice curvature in my spine. All right. So what that's going to lead to neuromuscular issues and any sort of blockage in the system, whether it's in muscular, whether it's in emotional, whether it's in your digestive tract, whether it's in blood clot, any of that stuff, right? It's going to cause issues. That's the name of the game. Any of that stuff is going to cause issues.
Got it.
And on top of that, not only are we sitting improperly, sitting too much, but as a result of the work that we're doing as corporate athletes, we're leading to other things such as overeating or indulging in the wrong things or looking for quick fixes. Right? Most people we eat for like three reasons. We eat because we think we should. Oh, it's 3 o'clock. I should eat. All right. Or oh, I'm at grandma's house. I should eat. Oh, it's Christmas. I should eat. Oh, it's this. I should eat. Right. So we eat because we think we should. We eat because we're stressed. Right. We reach for something because we're stressed.
Hmm.
And then number one, we eat because we're bored.
Mm.
Right. So nowhere in there does it say we eat because we're hungry or that we need nutrients or that we need any of that stuff. So we're ending up in a situation where you've got a triple whammy here, right? You're sitting incorrectly, you're sitting too long, you're compounding it, us compounding it with other activities that are not necessarily the best for us, such as overindulging in things that don't lead to any good. Um, and then on top of that, it's leading to increased level of stress, anxiety, depression, all of these things combined. So is it the sitting or is it the whole thing? Right.
Right.
The sitting certainly is part of it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But there's so much more that comes into it. This is why we always get into these conversations on the Good Life, because it is about awareness and going deeper to understand where all of these things or how to potentially, correct or have some solutions for these types of things, right?
For sure, for sure. And we can even take it to another level where you can look at your environment. Unless you have an amazing house where you've, I don't know, invested in keeping the air super clean, having skylights where you have access to sun. Maybe you've cut out a floor where your feet are on the earth, right?
Right, right.
We like most of us are spending time in rooms that are 100 times dirtier than outside, right?
Mm,
Hence, we see an increased level of allergies over the years, an increased level of sensitivity to. So, and unfortunately, with corporate athletes, a lot of folks, maybe not so now, are in situations where we're working under fluorescent lights and cubicles,
mm.
um, and like sterile looking environment. So environments that don't necessarily promote well-being,
Sure.
if you will.
What does promote it? What's the ideal work environment for the average corporate athlete?
Or it's the ideal environment would be the opposite of that.
Right.
So
Sunlight and movement.
right. So it's tough because we have to live in the quote unquote modern environment.
Mm,
So a lot of what people end up doing, or what we end up doing, is trying to counterbalance that, because we're sitting in these positions for so long and we're doing work that we're not meant to be typing on a computer for 10 hours a day. We're
right.
not meant to be talking on the phone for 10 hours a day. That's just not what our machinery is built for. So we try to counteract that by building these synthetic rooms of simulation, or whatever, aka gyms. Right. So we go into the gym to try to counteract that. Um but uh, how can you counteract not getting enough vitamin D? You pop vitamin D pills. How can you counteract? So it's tough to say what is the ideal environment, because I'm not sure that in the current modern world we're able to necessarily generate that ideal environment. So it might be more of a focus of going outside a lot more periodically, in
Sure.
between calls, in between breaks. All right. And when you are in your home, when it's nighttime, switching over to red lights instead of blue lights, getting beta blocker glasses, just kind of almost simulating your environment the most you can. But
Mm.
as I say this, guys, I gotta be honest with you. I can't say how hopeful I am. At
I was
least
gonna
things do that.
I was gonna
Uh,
say it seems like a lot, but if people really want it, I mean, that would be the lengths that you would go, right? Like there really isn't a length to stop when it comes to any of these areas of health. But it's tough living in our modern day society and being able to like still have access to all these things, and it being a challenge to kind of change our lifestyle completely. But I understand it.
I think you almost start with, brother, and I think this is probably my real answer, is I think you almost start with gaining control of how you make money. Because as long as you are dependent on going into an office to go do as long as you're dependent on that way of living, it's going to be tough to break up your schedule. You can't just up in the middle of the day and go uh, 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 um, get some sun,
Right.
ground, take a walk, do whatever. But maybe, maybe some are able to negotiate that in their contracts.
Hmm.
I don't know. If you are, it's something to consider. Maybe now that you're working at home, you're able to negotiate and tailor your schedule to allow you to do stuff like that. Um, so that's while you're in work, and that's important to consider, because most of us spend anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day doing that type of stuff. Um, but times where you do get to unwind is also one to be considered. People then go the direct opposite of restoration, right? They go hard to try to get like a release.
Right.
Um, when that release is very short term, but it's very hard to tell somebody that feels like they've been cooped up for a long time that they can't get that short term release, because in long term it's going to hurt them, right? That's a tough conversation to have.
Understood. And a lot of times people don't want that, it's tough for them to make that change or any type of change drastically. So
I don't think most people are down for it, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I really don't. I really don't. Um, but let's talk. Let me lay this out there, and then we'll get back to the stats here a little bit.
yeah.
I think the biggest lever people can pull is food.
Mm,
Maybe you can't change where you work. Maybe you can't go outside all the time. Maybe you can't go to the gym all the time.
mm,
Maybe you can't do whatever. Um, not work at night. Maybe you have to work at night, right? Maybe you have to be on back-to-back calls. Maybe you have to do all those things. But you can't control food, and it's the biggest lever, I think, followed by breathing. Right? You're gonna be breathing anyway. You're gonna be eating anyway, and the biggest lever to pull is that. So most people's goals fall into. I'll give you the series of threes. Most people's goals fall into three things, right? Aesthetics, vitality, longevity, and performance. They want to look good, they want to feel good, and they want to perform at their best in whatever it is that they're doing, right? So for that, it's a next series of three. Remember this: it's nutrition, it's movement progression, meaning and daily consistency. So nutrition, what you eat, what you consume. We can expand that. We can zoom that in to food. Movement progression, making sure that you're challenging your body to get better, right? You're pushing your body to get better, not just staying stagnant, right? And that's the main issue we're talking about with sitting. And then daily consistency, meaning that you're taking a little bite each and every day, because the biggest bite you can take a day is not that big, right? You can't make drastic changes in a day. And then if you narrow down nutrition further, you have two components of nutrition. You have fueling and not fueling, eating and not eating, fasting, right? And eating, right? So, and three things that should be doing. When you're eating, you should be nourishing at the cellular level. You should be detoxing at the cellular level, and you should be repairing damaged cells at the cellular level. Same thing when you're fasting, but it's the yin and yang. It's the shady side of the mountain. When you're fasting, you should be detoxing toxic substance toxicity in your body. You should be repairing damaged cells and organs, and you should be nourishing deficiencies in your body as well. So if you are pulling that lever, in my opinion, it's like the biggest one that you can pull. And if you follow that with slow, controlled, intentional breathing, in my opinion, that's what that is like the best thing most corporate athletes can do that's within their control.
That was super helpful. I'm sure for people that are listening, if you find yourself in that manner where, just like Abi said, maybe you can't change your job. You can't just up and change your routine and change your schedule. Some of the freedoms we have on this side, right? When you control a bit of your income and you building something yourself, you have a little bit more time, freedoms to do these types of things. Ever since, again, Kabi knows on the journey, I now frequent outside. I look forward to the vitamin D, right? I've put that as a part of my day to get time outside. So understanding that, like, those things we can do as an entrepreneur, you might not be able to do those at your job. So if you can't affect your job, you can't maybe affect your environment in the same ways, you can definitely affect what you put in your body. You can definitely affect what you're choosing to eat. And even for some people that might say they can't because of their environment, most likely you can, right? As anybody that is listening to this that has the means or the ability to go out and, buy food currently, whether it's through grocery shopping, whether it's eating out, dining out, whatever the case is, you can affect and change what you are consuming. It's that simple. And Kabi knows that is one of the fastest, and I guess you're saying it's the best way to be able to start. The biggest
lever.
Yeah.
The biggest lever. Not necessarily the best, because best then throws in a couple of factors, but the biggest lever most people can pull. The one that's most accessible, and it's going to have the biggest impact in their life is that one right there. Yeah.
How do again, I talk to so many people that really go the other way. Like, they really think it's the movement part of the three, right? The body movement progression, that part. They really think that is the thing. And they often stray away from the nutrition part or the diet part. Why do you think that is? And do you see that?
Do I see that in terms of, do I see people that move in that direction?
Yeah. Like,
Sure, sure. But to me, oh man, I think that's a mistake. Why do I say that? Because of a combination of things. One, when you look at the whatever research you choose to look at, right? What you consume has a massive, massive impact on you.
mm,
And of course, movement is important. But most people will not necessarily go to a gym. Most people will not do. There's so many ways to get sufficient movement in your body. If you walk 30 to an hour a day of intentional walking and breathing, for most people, for a lot of corporate athletes, that might be sufficient,
mm,
right? Add in some strength training and you're in a different bracket. Right. Those two alone, some walking and strength training, and then do some stuff you enjoy. Maybe you enjoy, I don't know, maybe you enjoy tennis. Maybe you enjoy, I don't know what you enjoy, some sort of movement. Maybe you enjoy dancing,
mm,
right? Maybe you enjoy something that you enjoy. Add that and you're good to go. But the food piece, right? I think for a couple of reasons. One, it is the biggest piece that's been hijacked,
mm.
right? The modern food environment is crazy.
Hijacked. That's a big word. Hijacked.
Yeah.
By who? Who hijacked it?
Oh, come on. Why you setting me up to get canceled?
uh,
If you look at our food, I reference this quite a bit, but if you look at the major corporations that grow our food, that package our food, that cook our food, they're all very similar people that wear different hats, right? You can find Coca-Cola in places you can't find good drinking water. How, Sway?
they
Let
ain't
me
got
repeat
the
that.
answers, Sway.
Let me repeat that. You can find Coca-Cola in places where you cannot find good drinking water. And I know this for a fact. All right. So the corporations that grow our food, that package our food, and that cook our foods are all very similar, and they are in the business of selling us food.
Mm,
Meaning, the more food they sell us, the more food we consume, the better for them. So they're invested in research as to how to hijack our taste buds, our mind, our chemical makeup. And research shows that if not 80%, it might be more of our health outcomes is related to what we consume. So, of course, movement is important, but when you're getting to numbers like 80%,
yeah.
we got to rethink this, man. And there are some people that cannot perform certain movements, but they're going to eat. Right. So these are all factors that go into um and that go into me saying that it's the biggest lever. Right. So yeah, man, I think movement is important, but I think if food by far, diet by far is the biggest lever.
Wow.
So
That's gonna help a lot of people, man. Like I just know that if people take that seriously and apply that in their life, that's the biggest lever to be able to start this process of feeling better and performing at your peak. It's probably something to pay attention to that can apply. So that's good stuff, man. What else was on these articles, these stats?
yeah, so we have what's interesting is how chronic conditions have changed over the years. According to the almighty World Health Organization, chronic diseases were expected to rise by 57% by the year 2020. We may have surpassed that. I got to double check.
Yeah, we might have to. I'm sure we got close to that number.
More than 580 primary care clinicians surveyed by Primary Care Corporation since the pandemic state that 85% have found of people surveyed have found that mental health conditions are getting worse. 31% found that an increase in addiction.
That's shocking.
37% have found that chronic conditions are getting noticeably worse.
And what do you think it's all from? What is main contributor? I would say stress, but
I think stress number one. But stress leads to some predictable behaviors. It's a vicious cycle. Stress leads to us seeking comfort, and people seek comfort in comfort food. It literally has a term, and in comfort habits.
Yeah.
And in and of itself, stress releases chemicals in the body that put us in fight or flight, or we're already in fight or flight where these chemicals are released and completely hijacks our system. All right. So I think there's so many factors at play here. But again, if we just stick to the fundamentals, right? What are you consuming? Lowering your level of stress, getting outside, connecting with nature, connecting with people you love, sun, air, water. Like, I mean, all the things that people know. People know this stuff. An interesting piece here. The U.S. has the highest chronic disease burden and an obesity rate that is 2 times higher than the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Developmental average.
Wow.
Compared to other nations, the U.S. has among the highest number of hospitalizations from preventable causes and highest rate of avoidable deaths.
Wow. People are literally just killing themselves, right? Just
Yeah. There are 50% more deaths from suicides than homicides in the U.S.
Wow.
I was shocked by that one. And the U.S. spends more on healthcare than any other country.
That's crazy. It's crazy. We're dealing with so much on this side, and it's all around health. It's not just like the mental health aspect. Again, we're talking about what we consume.
Yeah.
We've talked about this over and over again on the show, that like we really have to pay attention to the consumption and where this stuff is coming from. Like you said, this stuff has been hijacked. Where's the information coming from? All of it. We have to pay attention to that stuff because what we're consuming is killing us. It's killing us. So we got to give some solutions.
Oh, man. About 1 in 5 heart attacks are silent. The damage is done, but the person is not aware.
Wow. 1 in 5?
5.
That's crazy.
Yeah. With that said, guys, listen, the fundamentals are clear. Stress, consumption. I mean, it's almost hard at times to pick out which one of them are we going to go for, because truthfully, they're all linked.
Right.
You just got to find the biggest lever that you can pull right away to make the biggest impact, because that's going to feed the rest of them as well.
Right.
It's going to feed the rest of them as well. You start feeling good, but eating better, you'll start to move more. Maybe you pick up some breath exercises, start to be around better people. So I think it's all related in that way, man.
Definitely is. But definitely pull the biggest lever. That makes sense. The one that's going to make the most impact, most bang for your buck. That's the baby step to take. Let's start paying attention to what we're consuming on that side, and things will change. So it's good stuff, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if you need help, go ahead and get in touch with me. More than happy to chat, see what your specific situation is, and see how we can make an impact and help you out. Um, Other than that, man, listen, I'm gonna go out here and go get me some sun because before
Yeah.
it's all said and done, because goodness gracious, these numbers are depressing.
We need it right now. We need to just counter all of all of this depressing news with going out and fixing our life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's, at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of folks chasing money, but I've also seen people who have money and the only thing they want more of is time.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't mean like time, I mean like good quality time. They don't want just like any old time, right? If you're suffering, and that's why I put vitality and longevity together, you don't want just to be in a coma for 100 years, right?
right.
You want to be living good. So, man, that's it.
Yeah, man.
That's all I got, bro.
That's it, man. I think it was enough. You could take us home and we'll check back in next week with the people.
If you have questions, or you any aspect of this you want to dive a lot more into, let us know. But that's it for us today. If you guys heard something you like, make sure you smash the like button. Tune in next Wednesday live for another
Live.
episode of The Good Life. And make sure you share this with somebody perhaps who needs to be encouraged by hearing some depressive numbers. And because all press is good press. And until next time, guys, keep living the good life. Peace.